I completely restructured my podcast schedule just to make sure that I could make this next guest come as soon as possible. If you saw my social content from a week ago, you saw that I was at the Power Table Live conference and it was transformative. It was so transformative that I feel like I'm going to approach my podcast completely differently. I have invited Taylor Smith to join me today. So when you hear this podcast, it is only a week since she put on an incredible event in 30A located in the Florida Panhandle. Taylor didn't only invite women to her conference, she connected them. She nurtured the audience. She set a vibe and a culture and a standard to make sure that everyone felt welcome, everyone was engaged, and that their experience was top notch. And I knew that I had to bump up her podcast recording that was originally scheduled later this summer to now. So you can hear all of the fresh insights from my experience as an attendee and from her insights as the host. I am so excited for you to meet my friend, Taylor Smith. She's a 4 times founder, and she's the host of Power Table Live Conference and the Power Table Live podcast. More than that, she's a business strategist and a community builder. One of the things that I love most about Taylor is that she believes dreams are meant to be built, not just thought of. She has found the sweet spot between bold strategy and really refined tactics, which is truly a superpower. So let's cut to the chase. Let's get Taylor on and let's talk about all things Power Table Live, community building, and how you can get into her community and have opportunities like speaking and masterminding and growing your community together. Taylor Smith, I am so thrilled to have you. It's Tuesday. It's been not even a full week since your event, and I'm so pumped to have you on the heels of what was, I think, an incredibly successful conference. Welcome to the Present and Powerful podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Lyndsey. I feel like I've seen you because we were at the conference together. It feels like we've just seen each other every day for like a week. And I know it was only 2 days, but it feels like we just spent a whole week together. And so this feels very like a continuation of that.
I was going to say the exact same thing. And I think it's really it feels really good. But what a lot of people don't know is that you and I only met in person, like a month ago? Taylor, was it a month ago where we went for
Yes.
coffee in downtown Pensacola and walked for 3 miles? And that was our very first in-person meeting.
Yes, I know. It's such a short time ago, but honestly, you just meet people and when you connect with them and they have the right vibe and you have like-minded goals and shared interests, it's so easy to then be instant best friends that you can just text on our random Sunday night and just say hey, I have this crazy idea in my business, or here's what happened, as if you have known them for years.
I love it so much. And I don't even think I remember how we originated in our conversation, but between Instagram or LinkedIn or mutual followers, I think it's a really beautiful thing for us to have met in person, for me to be able to attend your conference, and now we're on the podcast. And here's the thing, I think there's so much more to come, and that's a really, really beautiful thing that really embodies your community building priorities and prioritizing that portion of your business. And before we kind of dive into all of that, let's talk about the Power Table Live. I understand that was your second event, and what a caliber of an event you put on. The women, the culture, the vibe, the content. But that's my perspective. I would so love to hear how things are going for you on the 5th day of it being wrapped up and concluded.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, everyone's been asking me this for 6 days. I think every single person I have ever known has been in my DMs of how are you feeling? How did it go from your perspective? And that honestly, that's so cool. That's so cool. And it's so nice to have people invested and care about you and your perspectives. But I will say that I could not be happier with how it turned out. Of course, obviously, with anything in your business, you're going to have little things. You're oh yeah, I could do that differently, or I could do that better, or there's changes I want to make. But when you see people get into a room together and they connect in a way that just isn't going to happen on social media, and you see all of these people hugging and exchanging ideas and exchanging resources, and now everyone has 5 new best friends to support them. There's nothing but good to take away from that. And so this is my second annual conference, and I've hosted a lot of smaller events in the past, and I do have a lot of experience in event planning, but it's like for a long time I wasn't doing a lot of events myself. And this year, the first year was kind of like, let me just see if people want this. And the second year was, let me design something that I am excited about, that I created, like what I wished existed. And the feedback was so overwhelmingly positive and so overwhelmingly specific. And people in the past few days have said, like, Taylor, I've never been to an event like that. I've never experienced that kind of like rapid transformation and rapid connections. And I didn't even know that was possible. And the coolest part is that we had someone in the room who had never been to an event before. And that was her first ever business conference. And she came and then she was asking other people, is this what it is like? And the other people were like, I wish this is what it was like. And that was like such an incredible thing for me to like hear secondhand.
I want to echo that because I've been in the entrepreneurship world for quite some time. I've been in the professional world for a long time. I've worked on Capitol Hill, I've done corporate, I've done nonprofit. Like I've been in business and seen a lot of events. And the Power Table Live was probably my first emergence into the female entrepreneurship side of things. You just had so much intentionality behind it that I don't want to get lost in the background. The fact that you connected all of the attendees a month before the event, that's where so much of this magic happened. But it's beyond that. You didn't just put people in a group message together. You really, whether like boldly in your face or not, like you set the tone for the vibe, the culture, the standard. This was not like get in the room. It's like, hey, let me pull up a seat at the table. It felt so authentic and grounded. And for me, as someone who can look at a big room of people and connect with so many people, it provided so much depth. And I think that's what we lack in either the online space or just going to like really big events, that I knew who I was talking to before I got in the room with them. I knew their business. I knew where they were from. I knew if they had a family or not. And I don't know, I've never been to another event where that was the case. So I'm kind of scared to go to another event because I'm just like, oh no, what if it's not like Power Table Live?
The bar has been set. And I'm not
It
afraid
really
to
has.
say that because truly, when I started going to events, I think that because I didn't come from like, I was not in corporate very long. I was really like before entrepreneurship. I was a teacher. I worked in public education. I became a college professor at 23 years old. So I was really coming from like a purely academic space. And so then when I approached entrepreneurship events as an attendee, I feel like I showed up as a nerd. And what that meant is that like I was like hyper researching and like prepping ahead of time. So I was like tracking everyone down and emailing speakers and trying to connect with people. And I had no idea that wasn't the norm. And what it turns out when I started doing this, people were like, no one's ever reached out to me for lunch before. No one's ever DM'd me and had conversations before. And then fast forward a few years down the road, when I started hosting my own events, I was like, I have to put like my brand, my unique method of doing things on this. And for me, I know that my greatest results came from taking those actions ahead of time. Like for me, transformation doesn't begin like when you walk in the door of an event. It starts weeks and weeks before. And it is more work, but the payoff is so much greater if you start building connections earlier. For a long time, I had no idea that that's not how other people were doing it until other people started saying, like, I've never seen anyone show up and host an event the way that you do.
And I fully believe that. What's really special, that not only something that I saw as an attendee from my perspective, but I heard the chatter among the other attendees. So for clarity for anyone listening or watching, I attended in the VIP intensive capacity, which means I spent 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. both days with this incredible group of women, and got the VIP seating and this and that. But like when you were at the conference on the 24th, the women who came as general attendees, they were so hyper connected to both the speakers and the VIP that like the physical quote unquote barriers didn't matter. The women, it was this very natural, accessible entry point for every single individual to connect with a speaker. And you had some high caliber speakers. So there were no limiting factors into who could connect with who, or like speakers on a pedestal. And speaking from experience from the VIP intensive side of things, the women not only poured into those people at that session in that like house setting, they were reaching out to me in the DMs. We were meeting for coffee. They wanted to pull me aside at the networking session. Like there was an intentional outreach that I have never experienced before. And it was incredible, and something that, like, again, is so lacking in other areas, whether it's conferences or online entrepreneurship. It was refreshing. And I want you to know that, because it has made so much of an impact on me and my business, not only just about the conference, but how I view really powerful, supportive women who seem out of reach or inaccessible. And you provided that.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. It was, I mean, it was all, I keep saying like I created what I wish existed, but like
Yeah.
I knew other women who were my friends and my mentors. I knew that they were operating the same way I was, and that we could also bring that down into like the level of my community. And so, so important to me. And I had so many conversations with speakers as well of like, hey, so when you come, like it is my expectation and my desire for you to be fully present. Like it's important to me that we model like peer to peer, because like I don't ever want to show up as someone who people perceive as out of reach for them, if that makes sense. And I don't want anyone
Totally.
on my stage or my speakers or my community to appear that way either. Like it's just not part of my brand values.
I would say that you lived that out for sure, and you achieved that without question. And of the many things, like before Taylor and I got on this, I was like, Taylor, I'm going to try to make this a 25-minute podcast as opposed to my 45 minutes. So as much as like I want to dive into every single
Yeah.
aspect, I want to touch on so many things. And one of those things, Taylor, was your keynote where you talked about identity, because you started it so powerfully. And by the end of it, like my makeup was gone. Like I don't think I cry very often at business events, but I was trying to not look at you during your keynote because I was weeping, and it captured so much about your legacy, and how you want to live your life, and at the end of your life, what do you want to be able to say about yourself. So as we kind of touch on that identity piece in your keynote, is there anything you want to talk about and just share with people that might reflect that keynote session?
Well, I have to say it took me a long time to write that keynote, and there's a few reasons for that. One is like I had never really talked about identity before with my community. I have always found a lot of comfort in showing up as the educator, because like that's what I was professionally trained to do. I was a teacher. I have 2 degrees in that. And so I always did that in business coaching and with my clients is I knew I could do that role very, very well, but I also very strongly for the past couple of years, but especially the past 6 months, like I knew like I was holding myself back as long as I was like letting myself teach. And so like I went through my own identity shift in this process, and I ended up writing about, your identity. And if you build your business around your identity, you build something that you're going to be proud of. That's going to change lives. It's going to change other people. But it's not necessarily a comfortable thing to do. And yes, we have all of the strategies. And yes, like there's data-driven decisions and all of those things are true. And like we're at a point in society and with AI and with business online, like you literally get to choose. Like you get the choice of like, do you want to just build something and sell something that's convenient? Like, yeah, I could be a drop shipping business, and there's not to say there's anything wrong with that. Or yes, I could do network marketing, and there's nothing wrong with any of those things. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, what is the point if you don't show up building a business that like you personally are proud of? And people want to buy from real people. Like that's the point where we are at. Like they want to buy from them. So if you build your business around who you are, you're instantly setting yourself up for success on a personal level, on a financial level, on an opportunities level, because most people won't put themselves out there and do it like that.
100%. And I think that message, which I think was followed by Shelby with her like insanely motivating session about being not only just showing up authentically, but like humanizing yourself and your brand and growing your business through social media. It was such a great pairing of both content and motivation that leads to action. And as someone who has very clearly hidden behind the success of her
Mm.
clients, speaking of myself, I have always been hesitant to stake my flag in my identity
Yeah.
because I work with so many different people. I care about so many different things, and the internet is forever. And I'm just like, I know who I am at my corp, but my clients or my potential clients don't. But it was that like love and shove push that I needed to like say, all right, now I'm going to meet with a brand strategist. I'm going to build out my personal website. I'm going to show up more authentically on social media and in my podcast instead of having my news anchor voice and trying to
Mhm.
like have everything so
Yeah.
poised and perfect. It feels really good to shed some of those layers. And I think, again, your keynote was a really big driver in that mental shift. And again, having Shelby give you a swift kick in the butt to like get out of your head and show up as the person you are in person and online. And I'm curious, of all the speakers or sessions, was there one that you really loved or a topic that you were just so excited about? Like, what was your favorite part of the content?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I have to
All of
say
it.
all of it, literally all of it. So a couple of things. One on VIP day, like from a very tangible strategy perspective, Lauren Loretto of Brand Good Time, like the way that she approaches, how do you like market and nurture to people in the middle of your funnel? Like they've already gotten you on your list. Now what? Was so valuable. And of course, we love Jordan Gill. Like she's such a brilliant human. So for those of you who weren't in the room, you're going to want to be in the room next year. I don't know if Jordan will speak next year, but like we talked about things like how to land collaborations when you have a tiny audience and like what kind of things to track and measure in your business to build systems around. And so from a strategy side, like I thought those speakers were really incredible. And that was part of how I designed the conference is I always tell people like I'm a strategy girl, not a hype girl. Like, yeah, I might
Mhm.
dance on stage. Like that's fun. I might be someone who's like, people tell me I'm very motivating and inspirational, but like I would rather like let's take action and celebrate your wins and measure your success backwards, like measure your progress. But I'm never gonna like sugarcoat it and just be here for the vibes and mindset and all of that. Like that's not who I am. So I would say that's on the strategy side. And then on a personal side, I mean, Shelby's always someone that I ask her to show up because she is like one of the most, to me, the most incredible, empowering people that will not let you believe your own limiting beliefs. And she just like you don't get to have any excuses around Shelby. And that's why she's such an incredible speaker. That's why she's such an incredible friend and an incredible human. So that I'll just end there. They were all great. Those are standouts to me.
After Shelby's session, and that was the second day that I had seen her, I went up to her after the session because she was like, you're right. She's a real deal. I think she's flying under the radar. And I pretty
Mhm.
much went in to tell her, I was like, I'm a PR girl, and I'm not saying I have to do your PR, but you've got to, like, you're going up and to the right. Like, you're flying below the radar right now. And I want you to know that. Like, I see the next level for you, and it's in grasp. And so I'm just really excited for her and her brand because it was this convicting, like she's that
Mhm.
next version, but like a category of one. I'm really excited for Shelby. And again, so many of the other women were just so thoughtful with their messages and their content that they all really were incredible. And I'm curious, as you think about having the conference concluded and thinking about the next conference, what is next for Power Table Live? Were there any like big lessons learned that are going to inform the next one? Like, what happens next, Taylor?
It's like what I've been thinking about all week. I'm so excited. Okay, so I like to think of myself as a visionary, and every time I say that, I feel a little cult leader, like kind of crazy, as a weird identity to put on. But what I mean by that is I'm really good, and I feel like you probably are too, as a PR girl, but like really good about seeing like big picture, like what could this be? What is possible? And so this year really put us on the map. I'm very pleased with that and how the, community showed up and the content and like where we put our flag in the ground. And my vision going forward is to create a conference that is hyper personalized. So we're about to do something like bold that I think that I've never seen. And there's kind of 2 points to that, but really creating something that is so specialized and personalized to each attendee. And I think I'm the one to deliver that because my audience is actually very broad. And people do a lot of different things. Whereas some conferences I go to, like, love you guys, social media marketers, but when I'm in a room and like 80 of you are all social media marketers, like it's the best. And it's also very challenging to like do a lot with that.
Mhm.
And so my community is extremely varied. Some people are product sellers, some people are coaches, some people are, agency owners. I'm a 4-time founder, so a lot of people in my audience also own multiple companies. And that's kind of the norm, and I feel like my sweet spot. And so what that means is that I completely understand and identify with the fact that they typically need personalization. So moving forward, the future of Power Table Live is we are going to design probably our afternoon section to be a little bit more of a breakout and workshop style. And we're going to have tracks, and you will be able to self-assess where you need to go. And we will help you, really make the most out of what is available at the conference specifically for your business in a way that I've never seen a conference do before. I like to just show up and say, how can I do this in a way that no one else has ever done it? And like, how can I change the game in this industry? So that's the first part. And then the second part to this is before this year even happened, I knew we were already going to be like moving forward with next year, and like this was the thing. But I decided to make an announcement that 60% of our speakers next year would come from our audience this year. And the reason that I did that is because it is like part of our brand values to uplift our community first and give a voice and an opportunity to people who, are right on that edge and who are subject matter experts, who have something incredible to deliver, but maybe aren't quite fully aware that like, girlfriend, like this is your time to get into your speaking era. And I just want to be known for a community that like we uplift from the people within our membership and our community before anything else, if that makes sense. Like having big speakers is great, but like this is where I want to start.
That makes so much sense. And I think that what next year looks like for Power Table Live is your brand values lived out. Because one of the things that I know about you is that you do have the big strategy, but you're also very granular and tactical. And the workshops, that I can see exactly how that would benefit so many attendees, myself included. And then the brand values perspective of building community, showing up, like putting in the work to nurture relationships and benefiting from that. I think Jillian talked about the relationship bank.
Mm-hmm.
Pouring into other people and then them pouring into you in different ways. So I'm excited about next year because it sounds like so many of the people who we saw in the audience, no matter at what level, quote unquote,
Right.
what level, they have an opportunity to be in your world, to connect with you, and to make an impact in the future of Power Table Live. So I'm curious, Taylor, for people listening and for people who want to be at Power Table Live next year, how can they stand out to you and nurture relationships between now and then so they are more of a familiar face with you?
Oh, that's such a good question. I appreciate you asking that because a lot of people slide into my DMs with a cold pitch, probably like they do with like press releases and media. And they're like, hey, are you looking for speakers for next year? I'm an expert in XYZ. And that's the message. And I like don't even answer those because like you didn't say anything about my community or about me. You just told me about you. And I'm like, I have no reason to answer this, quite candidly.
Everything in my world is like PR, podcast, media, pitching,
Yeah.
whatever. We have to lead with mutually beneficial opportunities for you. Yes. But when you have nurtured and cultivated your audience and community, your job, your role as the gatekeeper is to determine whether or not this is of value and is it at the caliber that you want your community to experience.
Yes. Yes. Exactly that. And so I have to be careful, right? Like what is appropriate for them at that level, at that specificity? Like it's protective and then also like curated. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And a lot of the time, like quite frankly, if I'm just getting a cold pitch from you, like it's already not going to be a good fit. So for those of you who are like, hey, this event's on my radar, I'm interested in speaking, I'm interested in attending or collaborating, some things that I like to see as an event host is, are you listening to the podcast? Like, are you tagging me? Did you leave me a review for the podcast? Or are you engaging with our content? Are you asking, hey, how can I support you? What do you have coming up that I could share with my own audience? So I already have someone on my radar who she couldn't make it to the conference this year, But she sent our conference out to her entire email list of like, I can't go to this, but if you're near Florida, you should definitely go to this. Like that kind of thing makes a difference. Start, whether it's me or anyone else that you want to get on their radar, start building that relationship. And the way that you do that is like serving and showing up. Give all the way. It matters. I notice every single person who, comments on my stuff, who shares my stuff, who offers to come teach in my mastermind or in my community, who invites me on their podcast without necessarily an exchange. And I love podcast swaps. I'm all about that. But also, like, if you're not in a place where maybe it's the best fit for a swap, at least give me an invitation. Or another option is resource sharing. So if you don't have a platform yourself yet, you can say, hey, I just wanted to send over like this free resource I have in case there's anyone in your community who could use this. I would say like start that long before you get to the point where you're like, can I speak on stage?
100%. And I think what's important to highlight here is that unless you're hearing this correctly, that can feel very transactional.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lead with authenticity and caring about the other people and nurturing and cultivating relationships, that is no longer transactional. That is community building. It is supporting other people. And that's the vibe. That's the vibe here. And so I'm really glad that you talked about that because yes, relationship banks and, reaching out and giving can sound very transactional. But I think at the heart of it, you are supporting your peers, you are nurturing and helping them achieve their goals and their mission. And that is ultimately helping you achieve yours as well. So Taylor, I'm so excited to see who lands on your stage next year. So everyone, you heard it straight from Taylor. Follow her, reach out to her, provide support because she's going to do that to you tenfold as well. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this community. Taylor, what would you say to someone who is hesitant to get in the room? They're working from their home office and they see these events pop up, but they're like, I'm an introvert, or I don't have time, or I don't know if that's for me. Can you just give your pitch for why it's so important for people to be in the room?
My revenue increased 96% year over year when I started going to conferences. There you go. That's the whole pitch. Okay. If you're looking for excuses, you will always find them. If you want to tell yourself you're an introvert, like good, make yourself feel comfortable as an introvert. We're getting a little spicy here, but like seriously, my revenue increased 96%. From 2022 to 2023 when I started putting myself in conferences.
Period. Mic drop. We're done in the podcast.
That's it.
Taylor, so good. Did you say 96%?
96%. And I have best friends and I have all these opportunities and I get to speak on stage and like all that's good. But like truly a lot of times when we're scared, what we look for is like money, dollar signs, right? Like how can I feel good and lower my risk level? How can I feel more certainty when making a decision with my own money, with my own time, with spending time away from my family? I get it. Like all those things are valid. And like, you don't really show up to build a business to be scared and not make decisions and do it alone. Like that's not why you started it.
Heard. I can't wait for that soundbite, Taylor. That was so good. Thank you. I love the spice. And one of the things you touched on, and one of the things that I heard from the conference is that you're going to conferences, you're speaking. And that brings my next question is, what are you most excited about for the next year? Where are you speaking? What other conferences are you going to? And what are you most excited about?
Ooh, okay. So fun. About half the speakers on my stage at the Power Table also have conferences and events. And so I'm very excited to be supporting them. So I'm attending Females on Fire in Nashville by Haley Luckadoo. I will be there. It's going to be amazing. Damn Good Marketing Live is in New Orleans. It's very small list. I think there are 50 attendees. It will probably sell out on day one when they open registration. So if you're listening to this, I think it opens probably like a week after this comes out or something along those lines, like mid-May. This is a conference that you should have on your radar. Shelby Claymont's conference. I'll be speaking there too. If you are local to the Gulf Coast, we also have an event called Build Your Own Brand in Mobile, Alabama by my friend and one of my speakers, Peyton Moran, and I'll be speaking there as well. Apparently we're just doing like a lot of stuff in the South right now, which is like great, but like in a good way. I spent a lot of time going to things in like Phoenix, LA, and I'm really happy and proud to see all of these events on the East Coast. And like, I think it just took me a while to get them on my radar. You don't really know that. Like, this is a tip too. Like, a lot of times we don't know about the events till we get into the event circuit. And then Thrive Women's Conference in Raleigh is in October. I will be there as well. I'm looking forward to that one. And
I think I'm going to the Raleigh one as well.
are you? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we Airbnb together. Who knows?
for sure, for sure. And that's exactly what happened at your conference. I met two girls that I had either not known at all or
Mm,
only known online. And it was the very best thing. But my sister lives in Raleigh, so I think we're going to go up there in October. I would love to go to Shelby's. And then the other two, I think I can make, but like a world that has opened up before me because of, like, to put it clearly, like, to because of being connected to you, a world that has been opened up because of whatever it was, a DM on Instagram that turned into coffee, that turned into an event, that turned into podcast. So again, I'm really excited about the community that you're building, the priorities that you're putting out. And I find so often that people scroll on social media or listen to podcasts and they hear what a guest or what a speaker has to say. And they're like, oh, that's so out of reach for me. I want to get there. It's going to take forever. And so I always ask every guest at the end of the episode, to the woman who wants to be in your shoes, what advice would you give her? What would you say to her?
I'll bring it back to the identity piece. The person that you want to be, like you are already her. And a lot of people say that in a very like mindset manifestation way. It's your habits, it's your choices every single day. Like it changed my life when I sat down and mapped out what, like, if I could have everything in the world, what would I want my day to day look like? And I was like shocked when it was like really simple. I was like, oh, I would be stress free in the morning. I would work out every day. I would be hydrated and like spend plenty of time with my family. And there were so few physical things to buy on that list. And it was all just habits and choices. And when I changed my identity and I changed like, oh, I could be that person that runs now. I could be that person that has great friends because I built relationships. I was like, oh, I could be that person now. And once I apply that to my life and my business, I've never been happier. I've never made so much money. Just start making the choices that are in alignment with the person that you want to be. And you have to make those choices every single day. Like success is due in rent every single day with how you show up.
Love it. So poetic and really tactical and meaningful too. So Taylor, I'm so honored truly to one, like, be in community with you and that you decided that you could make this Tuesday 11 a.m. ish podcast work, because again, I see so much growth and opportunity on the horizon for you for no other reason than for the quality of person that you are and the doors that you open for people. So I'm fortunate to be in your community. Also, can you tell people how they can follow you outside of the podcast and maybe drop a teaser for your mastermind?
Yes. So I have the Power Table podcast. You can also find us on Instagram, thepowertable.co. And we have a free Facebook group. And then I also run a high impact mastermind for women who are ready to get out of inaction, make faster decisions, get more feedback on their strategies and build connections and just make a lot more money. Basically, we get you seen and paid. And so if you're interested in that mastermind, it is peer to peer. We have the absolute best community of women inside of that mastermind. Just send me a DM on Instagram. I'll send you all the details.
I love it. I joined Taylor's mastermind at the end of the conference, and I think we have our first call, what, on Monday the 5th?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. I'm so excited, Taylor. So pumped for you. I hope, again, that you have given yourself a little bit of rest to celebrate and to refocus on what's coming around the corner in the community, for the events you're going to, and for what is to come for Power Table Live. Can we let people know whether or not they can expect this to be in the 30A, like Florida Panhandle region moving forward, or do you think it's going to go elsewhere?
No, we're staying in the Florida Panhandle for the foreseeable future. So it's going to be, this is not our brand tagline, but we are going to have beach and business like for forever.
I think that sounds perfect. And I will look forward to seeing you next year at that as well. I'm going to tell everybody to come. I can't wait to get in the room with these people. But thank you again. Again, so honored that we could connect. And I look forward to building businesses alongside you.
Thank you for having me, Lyndsey.
You're welcome. You guys, we'll see you next week.